Essentially, Ukraine has had a lot of bad luck, if you would say. It's had a much more difficult transition than its neighbor to the west, Poland. And by and large, people in Ukraine rightly feel that they have not received much from the government, both in terms of how they're treated, whether they're treated fairly at an individual level, but also in terms of the goods and services that are provided to them. And they're much less satisfied in that respect than their neighbors to the east or west. And they've had a state that has not been reformed or been adequately strengthened enough to withstand outside pressures, if you will, such that Ukrainians know that if they do avoid contact with the state, but are caught, they generally can talk or negotiate their way out of it to a greater extent than per se in Russia. To address the notion that both Russia and both Russia and Poland have been effective in getting tax revenue, that is true, but I argue in the book that Poland has been much more successful than Russia because it is based on a state that has gone out and tried to educate its populace as to what are these new things called taxes, how do you pay for them, how do you engage with the state, and it's provide them with goods and services, and it's created a new state in the 1990s that was of, by, and for Poles for the first time in generations. Whereas the Russia state, in many ways, does not focus on trying to build trust between citizens and the state, and instead reinforces fear. And fear of getting caught with taxes is obviously a scary thing in Russia. And by invoking and provoking such fear, the state is able to get citizens to comply, but not as strongly as Poland. So Russia's at a suboptimal level. And in many ways, one can see how it would be difficult for those running the show in Russia to believe that they can translate or transition rather into a rule of law state like Poland, because they fear very much the loss of control that they see in a case like Ukraine, which in many ways is caught in the middle between the two sort of paradigms, if you will.